But then someone just reported like that, hey, I have this species that evolved that just latches on bigger whales and feed from them, like
Doesn't let go.
just doesn't let go and then slowly feed it.
I see.
That was parasitism. Like we didn't code for parasitism, but that evolved, and that just became a possibility from the things we coded, the possibility or the base rules, and then that became possible. So in the end, it's pretty easy. The Bibites is just a simulation of life. I try to simulate life forms, their biology, the physics of the world, their evolution. So it's all about making agents that evolve.
Synopsis or overview of how Bibites started,
Yeah.
and then we can talk about its relationship to ALife in general.
Yeah. You want to go about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the Bibites started as a passion project for me when I was in university. Basically, I took like a side course on neural networks, and I was like, what if we gave neural networks to life forms, like actual life forms that reproduce and evolve and so on, and that don't get trained through like a selection process or like a reinforcement learning or so on, that just evolve through open-ended evolution.
Okay.
And I basically wrote my first prototype, and at first it was just like a fun side project to work on when I didn't want to study, like when I was bored and didn't want to study for an upcoming exam.
So very often then.
Very often.
Yeah.
And yeah, like basically every time was such, I would just do a little progress. Like every 2 months I would come back to it and just like, oh, what if I added pheromones, or what if I added collisions, or what if I added the possibility for them to attack one another or to interact, and I would slowly add more capabilities, more neurons to the brain, new senses, like giving them like, oh, what if it gave them an internal clock, like
Right.
internal
Circadian rhythm.
and so on. And yeah, I just kept working on it. And I eventually, towards the end of university, I had to abandon the project, but I decided to post like a one YouTube video to stand it up as a Hail Mary, as you would say. And it basically caught on YouTube, so I decided to keep doing this part-time throughout as I was working at the company. And at some point I was fortunate enough to draw like my financial trend lines.
Yes.
And I was like, I have to move city and I quit my job anyway. Maybe I can afford, like, I have a small financial cushion. Maybe I can afford to work on this full time for like a few months.
Right. See what happened.
Yeah, see what happened. And basically I made the jump there, and as we advanced, like the trend line started like
Exponential.
diverging a little bit.
Good or bad?
Yeah, in the right sense.
Right.
The sense that they become asymptotical.
Okay.
And like stopped. At some point, they even like just stopped.
Or like they were like.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, well, I can probably do this forever.
That's amazing.
And I just, ever since, like for the last 5 years, I've been full time on the project, publishing on YouTube, advancing the simulation, and so on.
Great. That's it's always great to hear the come up story.
Yeah.
So are you making animals? Like, do you have tigers? Do you have what do you have in the
Bibites.
Bibites, right?
Yeah, Bibites, which are
They're a special kind of animal.
Yeah, they're cute little life forms. I wouldn't even say animals.
Okay.
Just life forms.
Okay.
And they eat food to gain energy, to sustain their metabolism, to grow, to reproduce. They have genes that defines lots of their genotypical characteristics and phenotypical characteristics, and they have a brain that are based on neural network architecture that's also evolved in complexity to evolve their behavior and their complexity, so that you might at some point see predation evolve, Bibites chasing on others, scavengers, even parasitism, right? Like they can use pheromones to communicate. They can share food between each other. They can so much. So basically what most people end up doing is trying out experiments. Like, what if I created a world where there is no friction? Or like if I took a world with friction, where like the Bibites, when they move around, they have a hard time moving around.
Yeah.
They are in a thick liquid, but then I slowly decrease the friction of the environment, and then see how they adapt. And you can see that, throughout generations, like, as you decrease the friction of the fluid they live in, then they became adapted, and they now move like spaceships, like just by small bursts of propulsion,
As opposed to?
as opposed to just continuous propulsion in aviation.
Right, so they use their momentum more because they don't have as much friction. They're allowed
And to the point where you can get to zero. And now it's like if they are in space, and they basically just do small bursts and then drift.
Right.
Like, some people just use it as a virtual aquarium. Like, we've had some users just rig up a TV in their living room.
Really?
Yeah, and just leave that forever, and basically have their own private aquarium and keep evolving.
Okay.
And changes.
Maybe here I'll show some of that. You probably have some of those videos and stuff online. Yeah. Okay. That's very interesting. I asked that because what I'm hearing is somewhere in that a definition of life. I'm hearing that maybe you see, and maybe if I'm saying too much, let me know, but I'm hearing you saying that fundamental characteristic of a life is not just that we're selected by the environment, but that we can change our environment.
Yeah.
And that in turn changes us again.
Yeah.
Would that be
Well, I wouldn't put it as a criteria to life, but it's a
characteristic?
it's a definitive like result of it.
Yes. And that would be very satisfying for you if you could see that.
Oh yeah.
Like if like my environment selects upon me again, and we have this cycle going.
Yeah, and that's what open-endedness is. Like, well, there's always a very fine line to walk, because of course the emergence is like the openness, the possibilities, and of course like the most emergent system we have ever observed is the rules of physics. Our rules of physics, very simple rules, but then it gave rise to so much stuff. Like,
wouldn't you say life is the most emergent thing we've ever?
Well, yeah, but even that's a result of basic physics, like the like the quantum rules interacting. But then you wouldn't be able to do that, right? Because simulating that yourself, you would never have enough computing power to see interesting stuff evolve from simulation. So the fine line we have to walk is go as far back as possible, but abstract everything you think is not. Not absolutely necessary. In the sense, you have to be like the thing I try to optimize with my work is the emergence divided by the computation, the compute needed to get there.
But okay, so I'm curious to know, what is life?
That's actually funny, because it's one of our last videos that we published.
Okay.
Was called "What is Life and Are the Bibites Alive?" And basically, just because that's a common reoccurring question that we've got, or comments that we've got, like, oh no, Bibites are not alive because X and such. And it's like at a certain point, it just becomes about semantics, right? Like, there's no objective, universal definition of what life is. But
Sounds like your definition, but okay.
yeah, but like from my definition, I use a descriptive definition,
Yes.
Meaning that you need to observe 7 criteria.
Okay.
Homeostasis, meaning that you maintain internal state. Structure, meaning that you need a structure to organize yourself around.
It's like a boundary.
Yeah, a boundary with the world, because if you're not separate from the outside, how can you be something?
An inside and an outside.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
Okay.
Now I need to recall them from the top of my head. It's a bit harder than I thought. You have metabolism, meaning that you need to expend energy to maintain that internal state and to preserve that difference, that gradient. You need to respond to stimuli, meaning that you need to adapt and to your environment in your lifetime, as as dependent to just reaction or generation.
Yes, sure.
Metabolism is also about consuming energy,
Yes, of course.
consuming and transforming energy to maintain that state. Reproduction, meaning that you need to make copies of yourself, and there's two more: growth, which means that you need to increase your complexity or your size, because obviously if you need to make copies of yourself, like we live in a universe where you have conservation of mass, conservation of energy, so you need to grow to accumulate in structure or complexity or size to be able to create copies at some point.
So I've thought about this, and there's the notion of simulation versus realization.
Yeah. And it's for me, like that's something that comes back often. But people saying like, oh, but it's not real. It's like a simulation of the thing, like simulacrum versus simulation so far. But to me, I like to take it back further and more think about being medium agnostic, in the sense like we don't even know ourselves if we are a simulation, and there is some interesting arguments, like the entropic argument of us being in a simulation ourselves. So I don't think we're in a position to say like, oh, but this is not real. Like you look at something and it's like, that's not alive. Like we intuitively feel that's what it is to be alive.
Are you saying we feel or we project?
Well, we might project, yeah, in some ways. That's true. But yeah, like everyone has their own like internal different. Just look at something it's like, oh yeah, that's not alive. But then there's always like gray areas, like viruses look kind of alive to a lot of people. Like we've run just for fun, just before publishing the video, we ran a poll asking people like, are viruses alive? Mm-hmm. Like now the consensus on the scientific community is pretty much no, almost, but no. But like from our audience on YouTube, it was pretty much 50-50.
Okay, so here's the question: like, when you came to ALife, because I'm assuming you've seen a lot of, let's say, emergent behaviors, lots of things that like an academic might want to document, right? By just playing with this Bibites. When you look at the presentations being given at ALife, do you ever come a moment where you're like, oh, I've seen this in my simulation?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
How often is that?
A few times. Just like there was my memory is not that good.
Yeah, but don't have to name drop or anything.
But a few times, like probably 3 to 4 times. And just like I was giving examples in that talk of behaviors that we have observed in the Bibites, and someone was like, "That's completely novel. Did you publish a paper about that?" I was like, "No, I did not."
So why don't you do this? Why don't you have a special person on the team? Their single job is to pick out these interesting phenomena that the Bibites show and write up papers.
We should have that.
Yeah, and you could have like, I don't know, multiple papers. I'm pretty sure quite easily.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We just we keep working on have a list that keeps.
You could get interns, maybe. Interns that want to publish papers.
Yeah.
You can quite easily have an Excel sheet running, no?
Probably.
Yeah.
That would be a dream.
And that would be a fascinating way to get people into artificial life in general. It's like it's low barrier to entry. They get to have fun, and you have. It's part of the purpose of a professor, right? Part is to make sure that the student can't fail.
So now it's not just my thing. We have collaborations and we have like people that help out.
So yes, maybe go into that a bit. So you're currently stationed in Canada, if I'm not mistaken.
Quebec.
And
Proud Quebec.
yeah. And I met your business partner.
Yeah, you met Alex, the co-founder of Omnia Studios, which is the development studio that manages the Bibites. It's basically, I say management studio, but it's basically me and my colleague Alex, but we have to start somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. And already the fact that it kind of supports us too, that's going to be a good thing. And with the launch of the simulation on Steam recently.
We're out on Steam.
Yeah.
Okay,
we're
amazing.
on Steam. Which it's like we put like I've been designing for some time a new evolutionary algorithm, a completely new one that frees us from a lot of the limitations that we currently have. And we want to make a super streamlined and efficient and more open-ended framework. I don't want to stall on too much, but basically we call it the biome algorithm for biologically inspired. And that's an example. Or like their vision system right now is a big limitation. We want to make like their vision system another subnetwork that allows them to select, to focus on different entities and basically select themselves what is important to look at and see the properties of the things they focus on.
Instead of consider putting in LLM?
It might be, yeah. We want to increase the API, the interface, and to allow, like, that's one of the things we need to do to make it more researchable and easy for research, is that the API needs to be improved so people can try their own, like if they want to plug a Bibites into an LNF, they should be able to.
Yeah. Okay, great. All right, I guess we'll finish. All right. Okay, well, that's been a wonderful conversation with my friend Jan at Bibites.
Yeah. And what's the setting?
Yes, we're currently at Forest Library in Tokyo, and this is Jan's first time in Tokyo, and you said you'll be back.
I'll be back in a few months for sure.
So maybe we'll do another one then.
I hope so.
Thank you. All right, bye-bye.